Our first guests are bringing their twisted take on theater, comedy, and classical music to the Oregon Symphony, sharing the most horrible reviews of the most beautiful music ever written. Here to share more about the music critic, we welcome to AM Northwest the stars of the show, violinist and conductor Aleksey Igudesman, and award-winning actor and director John Malkovich. Good to have you both with us.
Thanks for having me.
Alexa, I understand that you came up with the idea.
Yes, I just thought it would be just thrilling and exciting to have that juxtaposition of this gorgeous, absolutely amazing music and these people trashing it. And I mean, it sounds mean, and but in a way, it's a very positive work. I think it's really an encouraging work for creative people. That's what we both always say, that when you are in that industry of writing or creating or composing, then you are going to be criticized. And we want to show that even Beethoven and Brahms and the most beautiful composers have been criticized.
When Aleksey brought this to you, what did you think of the idea?
I really loved the idea within 10 seconds of him finishing it. I thought it was really, as the kids say, an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah.
The music is so spectacular, and the critiques often really very well written, and often you can hear exactly what they're objecting to. But strangely enough, it's often precisely what they object to is often the quality that you most like.
Oh, wow.
And like many things, when they're first seen or heard or read or witnessed, they're rejected because there's no familiarity in it at all. And some of these composers, in fact, I suppose they all were in their way, were groundbreaking. And a lot of this music was groundbreaking at its time. And it's written about, sometimes with great contempt, but a lot of times it's pretty witty what they say about it.
You know, I've seen some clips. You are so good when you read those critiques. It's a living, breathing work that you have there.
Well, thank you. I think you have to match. I think Aleksey had a fantastic idea. I think they're very, very well chosen. But the review deserves the same passion and intensity and expression that the music does.
Right.
This is someone's very deeply felt point of view, and I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
Yeah.
The music can speak for itself.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, I remembered we hadn't done it in many years. We had done it for a show or two. I think a couple times. We did it in Dubrovnik, and it went beautifully well. And this was many years ago, over 15 years ago, or about 15 years ago. And then we brought it back around 2018 or something like that. And the first few performances, one of the things that had changed about it is the musicians were kind of siding with the music, you know, and I said, this piece doesn't have a director, but I said, you know, I'd be careful about that, because I remember when you guys did it in Dubrovnik, you were deliriously happy to hear these terrible reviews, because in the end, the composers and their music have the last laugh,
right?
Because the music is just spectacular.
Incredible. Now, you've been doing it with the chamber, right? So this time with the Oregon
Yeah.
Symphony.
Yeah.
Tell me that choice. And is this the first time in the U.S. that you're doing
In
it?
America,
In
yeah.
Portland? So,
Yes,
wow.
exactly.
You picked Portland. That's great.
Yep, it's the US premiere here with the great Oregon Symphony Orchestra, and we had a fantastic rehearsal with them already, and we're rehearsing more, of course.
Quick and smart.
They're very, very smart, and what I loved as well is like you mentioned, actually, the musicians when they're hearing the reviews, they are in glee, just like us. They are laughing so much,
Yeah.
because they know, of course, some of the works. Da 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 da,
Right.
da 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 da. I mean, that Beethoven, everybody knows it. Everybody in the public knows it. Of course, all the musicians have played it many times. But to hear how much hate Beethoven, the genius,
Right.
got at the time. Not even just at the time. Even there's some strange recent articles about him as well. It's astounding and bemusing, and we have fun with it. That's the main thing.
So let me ask you this. Are you going to give a review of the Oregon Symphony?
Oh yes.
They'll get theirs, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have some lined
yeah.
up. We have researched some negative reviews about.
We wouldn't have it otherwise.
Absolutely.
They're going to join the club.
Okay, everyone has gotten a negative review. Did you find one on John and then turn that in?
The worst.
Oh, tell me.
By far the worst. I mean, John has.
Very well written.
It's very well written. There's some horrible.
Wait. Wait, you're going to take a review that was horrible about you and say it was well written?
It's hilarious.
Okay, gotcha.
It's really, really funny. Sadly, it even apparently was much longer,
We had to cut it down.
but we had to cut it down.
And it's
a
still
little
long.
bit.
It's
But
long.
It's quite long. the piece.
I set it to music. It was by a
The
critic.
Malkovich Torment.
The Malkovich Torment by a critic who reviewed his show in Turkey, in Istanbul. And so I set it to kind of Turkish music inspired. John likes to call it a sinfonietta of sorts, and it's with the Oregon Symphony. It sounds like a big symphony, actually, in many ways.
Yeah.
Where John is shouting about what a horrible actor he is and how he should be sent home from the border with a Turkish delight.
Yeah, it's a great review. It's an excellent piece of writing.
Is there audience interaction at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get
It
them to
has a
stand
little
up.
bit of everything. Yeah.
And it feels like there's room for improv, is there?
There's always some degree of improv. I mean, anything that's a living performance will always have, even as we were saying today, even if musicians have notes and time signatures
Right.
and rests and stops, and actors have words, there'll always be some degree of improvisation and something. In this, there's a decent amount, more toward the end of the piece, because the reviews are actual reviews. No, not even a word is changed.
Oh.
They're all actual reviews. Most of them, or a good deal of them, let's say, at the time when the piece was first heard, or soon after. I suppose some of them have some retrospective elements, but they're all real reviews. As I said, often really well written, really funny, really intelligible, just often really good pieces of writing.
In your career, and you both have had a really long career, how do you handle a negative review?
I don't really handle it. It's just not my business, meaning...
You don't take it personally?
No. And because I have a job to do,
Right.
I have to do that job, and the only people who can help me do that job are my colleagues. Critics generally don't make theater. Generally, they don't make music, I suppose. Some do, but generally no. They're not composers, they're not playwrights, they don't make movies, they don't write scripts, generally. They have a job, and their job is to inform the people who read them or watch them of their point of view about a piece of art or a piece of work. And their reputations depend on their public trusting them. And if this person says this is a terrible piece of trash, then their public is going to say, okay, I trust this person. So all they can do is go with their instincts and their training and their abilities and their sensibilities and sensitivities to validate a piece or to reject a piece or be somewhere in between. You know, I always think of the critic for the New York Times, Frank Rich, when I was in theater in New York many decades ago. He was the critic of the New York Times, who they called the Butcher of Broadway. I never found out with Frank Rich. I thought
That's a heck of a nickname.
Yeah, I thought he could write really well when he loved something or when he hated it. When it was kind of somewhere in between, maybe not so well.
Yeah.
But I'll always remember one of his reviews had nothing to do with me. It's something I happened to read. I was waiting for a meeting. This play had opened called Moose Murders in New York on Broadway. And in the very first line, he said, from now on, there will only be two types of theater goers, those who saw Moose Murders and those who did not. And he went on to compare it in terms of its human cost to the sinking of the Titanic. Eventually, I think, deciding that Moose Murders had a higher human cost. It was a pretty hilarious review. And it made me want to see the play desperately. And immediately I had the New York Times. I was like, okay, well. So I said, this is before portable phones. I said, it was in a casting office. And I said to the secretary, can I use your phone? I called the theater. Can I get like 8 tickets for what, sweetheart? For Moose Murders? No, darling, and that's closed. You know,
if I were the producer, it would have run on that movie for at least a year.
You know what I love watching is your connection, the two of you, before we went on the air. You two are really connected. Someone will mention an idea, you'll write it down, and then you get excited. That's kind of how you two work, isn't it?
I think that's a very positive way of working generally, and we do have that rapport. We have a lot of fun outside of the professional world as well. So that's great. I think it's just about being a creative human being, because we both have that attitude as well, that creativity is really at the core of what we do, whether it's in everyday life or on stage. I think that's a great way to lead one's life.
And the interesting thing about being around someone like Aleksey, I've known for many years, and our colleagues, and we share a number of colleagues, is you never know when a good idea will come up. I mean, we were laughing about what we're speaking, but actually it's an excellent idea.
The idea we had. It's still secret.
Top secret, but it's actually an excellent idea. I mean, it's so easy to see.
And we came up with it right here on this set.
You'll get royalty.
Okay, thank you.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, okay, you got to do this, you got to do, yeah.
I'm curious why you picked Portland, because, I mean, I know you love, because you worked here, and you worked with the symphony before, right?
Yes, and I loved it. I loved the orchestra, and I loved the public. Above all, the public and the orchestra is just so special in so many ways, because they're open-minded. I would even claim to, don't hate on me, the rest of the U.S. It's actually my favorite public in the U.S.
Oh, right, because the audiences will love you.
Yes, they're open-minded but intelligent at the same time, which is like not necessarily the same everywhere. You can really feel that they get it. At the same time, they are there to have fun. They're there to enjoy, and not to be like oh, what is this? You know, they're not. Don't come from a high
They're
horse.
rooting for you.
Yeah,
they do.
Absolutely.
Portland audiences.
And the orchestra the same. I mean, they are such a great orchestra, and at the same time down for any fun, as you will see in the Music Critic.
I can't wait. You can see John and Aleksey join the Oregon Symphony for the Music Critic for one night only tomorrow night at the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall. We'll have more information, of course, as we always do on our website at KATU.com. Thank you both so very much. This was really fun. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.